The scariest story in all of my hiking. I was making my way down the East Coast on the Eastern Continental Trail, a 5,000-mile route from Quebec, Canada, all the way down to Key West. At this point in time, I was roughly 4,000 miles into it. I was hiking through Alabama, and I had just finished the Pinhoti Trail, and I was walking roads, highways, for roughly 200 miles, all the way down to Florida, where I started another trail. Cars would whiz past me, and no one would ever stop. I had heard from a friend that I was facing about an entire week's worth of weather, which on one hand was great, because Alabama was going through one of its worst droughts in history, where there were just forest fires burning everywhere, and at a time about a week prior, I was even running from forest rangers just so they wouldn't kick me out of the woods. The bad part about this storm was that I had lost a very crucial part of my shelter system. I was freaking out a little bit. I didn't know what I was going to be able to do for an entire week's worth of rain if I had no shelter that I could set up. And I decided, since I was basically homeless, that I would just sleep under bridges. It was getting close to sunset, and I came across a bridge, very fortunately. The rain had already started to come down at that point, and I was soaked head to toe. I remember I sat down underneath a tree just to try and get a little bit of rest from the rain, even though I was still getting pelted, and a car drove past me, and I could just tell that they were staring and judging me. The entire area didn't feel very welcoming. It felt very tight-knit, and that newcomers weren't necessarily invited. This bridge I found was really a godsend, because otherwise I wouldn't have anywhere to sleep, and I would probably just have to walk through the night until the rain stopped. I set up my things underneath it, I listened to a podcast or two waiting for darkness, and I fell asleep, with the plan that I would get up as early as humanly possible to avoid anyone detecting that I was there. The next morning, however, I didn't wake up because I was fully rested. I was woken up. I was woken up by someone else. When I opened my eyes, I saw a man who was pointing a gun at me. I packed up my stuff as fast as I possibly could, the entire time trying to explain what I'm doing, why I'm here, and he is just listening, but with a very vacant look from under the bridge out to the road where he has his truck parked. Now, keep in mind, this is a public road, but he was saying that this is his land and that I was trespassing. Cars now driving past, I imagine people on their way to work, while me and this guy are on the side of the road, and he has a rifle pointed at me. I'm thinking, great, hopefully someone will call the police, and they'll be here any minute. The police never came. I assume in southern Alabama, these people don't call the police. They handle their business. Which was not looking great for me. I continue to apologize and tell him that I don't have any weapons on me, I don't have any drugs on me, I have a home down in Florida, I have a job in Florida, that I'm just a hiker. At some point, it does seem that I haven't gotten through to him, but that he does get that I'm just harmless and I just want to walk away. He puts away his gun, and he starts talking to me a little bit. He starts offering me things. He asks me if I want some deodorant. He asks me if I have any weapons on me. I tell him no, that I don't even carry a knife with me. He asks me if I would like a knife. He continues to ask me if there's anything out of his truck that I want, other than food, water, or things that I probably would want. This continues to go on, and it escalates a little bit, and finally, he asks me if I would like a gun. And he pulls a pistol out of his truck and presents it to me. I say no, I wouldn't have any use for that. Ultimately, he lets me walk away, and I have never gotten out of somewhere so fast, and never been so scared. And for the next week after that, I still had to find bridges every single night to sleep under, and I can't tell you how frightening that was every single night, to be going to sleep thinking that I would wake up to another experience like this. That guy had told me that if it was his neighbor that found me instead of him, his neighbor would have shot me. He asked me what I was going to do moving forward, where I was going to sleep, probably just wondering if I was going to sleep on his property like a mile up the road. I told him that I've heard that churches will let me sleep on their lawn, or sometimes churches will let me sleep inside. And he says that churches would shoot me too. So this was the idea moving forward for the next week. Frankly, at this point, this doesn't really bother me so much anymore. I feel like that experience was pretty isolated, and ultimately, the vast majority of the time that I spend hiking is spent hiking out in the mountains. It's not spent hiking on roads. And I have this theory, which so far has held me good. My theory is that bad people are lazy. And now this guy with his gun was not bad by any stretch. He probably just thought, maybe I have a gun underneath my sleeping bag, or maybe I'm sleeping there staking out his house and going to rob him or something. So when you're way up in the mountains, you're only going to find other people who actually want to be in the mountains and want to enjoy that. No one's going to run up some mountains miles and miles just to go rob someone else. You could do that in the city. Frankly, other than this, I have never really had a bad experience hiking. This was it. And every single person I've ever met up in the mountains has been beyond nice to me. Some people letting me stay at their homes, feeding me, just like everything, giving me the shirt off their back. Unfortunately, it did actually sully my entire experience spent in Alabama, but you know, you can't win them all. So I hope you enjoyed this little story for Halloween. If you'd like to see more things about hiking or my experiences, be sure to subscribe to my page. So thanks for watching.